So, WandaVision, the first Marvel Disney Plus show, although not originally intended to be, is finally out, and it is without a doubt one of the greatest pieces of entertainment I have ever seen. The cinematography is beautiful, the CGI is stellar, the acting is incredible. Stanislavski would be so proud. Oh, and the writing! David Lynch has been found dead in a ditch.
Unfortunately, once again.
But also what makes up this amazing television show, or as I like to call it, a really long film, is the production design mixed with all the Easter eggs and references to the wider Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Marvel Comics, or pop culture as a whole. And I will be showing you all of those Easter eggs and giving you every single little detail that not every viewer may have caught. So let's get into it, so you can pretend like you read the comics before it was cool, so you can feel superior to all your dumb friends who have only seen the movies. Now obviously each episode tries to replicate an iconic American sitcom to achieve a certain aesthetic, and for the first episode they are clearly mimicking Family Guy, specifically the episode where they watch the Dick Van Dyke Show. What's interesting about this shot, not many people will spot this, but Elizabeth Olsen can be seen, and she plays Wanda Maximoff. This is of course referencing Captain America, Everybody's a Nazi Now, Avengers, I wouldn't really say age, it was more like 2 days of Ultron, Captain America, Tony Stark's a real big meanie, Avengers, I wouldn't really say Infinity, it was more like only 2 days of war, and Avengers, I can't believe you committed suicide. I cannot believe you committed suicide. How could you have done this? How could you have committed suicide? In which she plays the same character. Wanda then goes on to say,
my husband and his indestructible head.
This is clearly referencing a scene in Captain America. Tony literally put a 15-year-old child's life in danger to try and win an argument, where Hawknose hits Vision's head and he doesn't even flinch, implying that his head is indestructible. A wine bottle can be seen and the label translates to House of Contempt, which is likely a reference to the comic that this show has clear inspirations from, House of M, a comic where Scarlet Witch somehow can afford a house in today's climate. This Easter egg is elaborated on later on in episode 8, where Vision is somehow able to buy land for him and Wanda to grow old in, even though Vision can't grow old. I mean, I feel like every now and then you might have to like get a new graphics card, but otherwise he should be good, right? Wanda can be seen wearing big coats as well as holding objects in front of her belly to hide the fact that she is pregnant, which is a nod to How I Met Your Mother, where Allison Hannigan was pregnant but her character was not, so they did the same thing. The advert in episode 3 is quite interesting.
Escape to a world all your own, where your problems float away.
Obviously, this is referencing Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, where Jack Nicholson's character escapes to the Overlook Hotel and doesn't run into any problems at all and lives peacefully. And that film also has another iconic scene, including a bathtub. At the end of the episode, the aspect ratio changes, and this is a homage to the writer-director Trey Edward Schultz, who is physically incapable of making a feature film without changing the aspect ratio. Earlier on, however, it becomes evident that she is in denial of her past life as she sends Monica out of the Hex back into the real world. This is clearly referencing the MXM Toon song Blame Game, where she says,
denial is my greatest skill, bending the truth to fit wishes of will.
And definitely not just the fact that this is what a lot of people do, because it's better to live in ignorant bliss than actually confront your emotions, because that's difficult. It's also a reference to how I still believe that my parents still love me, when deep down I know they only pretend to care about me because otherwise they'd be labelled as bad parents.
Jimmy, stop talking about stupid fucking comic books! Come upstairs! Eat your fucking dinner, God!
Okay. Oh, and also Jason's mum called, wants to know if you want to go around his house after school on Friday? Yep, okay. Hi, Sarah. Yeah, he nodded his head, so, you know, as long as he's back by 5:30. This shot tells us that the show is set in New Jersey, which is a reference to Paul Blart Mall Cop, which is also set in the fictional state. At the beginning of the episode, focus on how Monica comes back to life. It looks very similar to how Vision dies later on in the show. Is this possibly suggesting that the entire world is an illusion created by Wanda? Also in episode 4, we are introduced to the character of Jimmy Woo, who is played by John Krasinski, which is really interesting given many people had fan casted him as Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four. Many fans were initially upset about this, but I think his performance ended up being really good.
He didn't want to be anybody's weapon.
In this scene we have child actors and their acting is really bad because they're children, but the true reason has actually flown over quite a lot of people's heads. This is actually a reference to David Lynch's Twin Peaks, where, oh no, you just don't get it, it's not bad acting, it's actually stylized acting because he's parodying soap operas from the time.
I'm gonna fucking kill.
Now this one took many fans by surprise, and I'm sure most of you most probably know what this is referencing, as it is referencing another huge franchise that Disney now own, Toy Story. The main character in that is Woody.
Is this Whoopi?
And this character's name turns out to be Boner. This is just a really well thought out Easter egg, and I really applaud Marvel for continuing to do stuff like this that no one else does. The dog featured in this episode is called Sparky, which is a reference to Vision's dog in the comics who shares the same name. Now, look at this shot. This has very similar shot composition to a scene in Sad Clown Man, otherwise known as the best film of all time, and this is definitely a nod to that, and not just a mid shot, which is a really basic way to shoot any scene. The intro for this episode seems to be mimicking one of my personal favourite sitcoms from when I was growing up, starring Bryan Cranston, Breaking Bad. And the intro specifically references the episode in which they hold hostage a drug dealer, which is obviously referencing how Wanda is holding hostage an entire fucking town, and for some reason we're expected to forgive her by the end because, oh boo, she was sad. At one point in the episode the words kick-ass are said, and it's pretty clear what that's referencing. Evan Peters, who plays Boner Boy, and Aaron Taylor Johnson, who plays the original Quicksilver in the MCU, were both in the film Kick-Ass, and the director of the sequel to that film is Jeff Wadlow, and the term kick-ass is commonly used to describe his amazing films such as Truth or Dare and Fantasy Island. Later on in the episode, I'm not horny for some reason, I just have an erection, I don't know why, it's really annoying, I hope it goes away soon, says,
"It's not like your dead husband could die twice."
This is a reference to the fact that the multitude of writers somehow overlooked the fact that Vision had already died twice, and this would actually be his third time dying. This episode seems to adopt the mockumentary format of modern sitcoms, and many people think that it's primarily mocking The Office and Modern Family, but I'm pretty sure it's mainly referencing the Curb Your Enthusiasm pilot, as the word magic is said in that, and magic plays a strong role in WandaVision.
Hitler was a big fan of magic.
Oh god, oh no. I can't put that in the video. I also believe that it's referencing Parks and Recreation, as that had Kathryn Hahn, who plays Agnes, as well as Chris Evans, who played one of the main characters, who obviously plays Star Munch in the MCU, as well as Aubrey Plaza, who's another main character in that show, and she was in a film called Ingrid Goes East with Elizabeth Olsen. Boom! It goes... It goes full circle, baby! At the end of the episode in Agatha's creepy witch lair, Mephisto can be seen in the background. This is of course a reference to how he will definitely show up in the series finale, and the show can't just be about something adult for once like grief and shit, because there has to be a big bad because I'm dumb, and then there needs to be a stupid fight scene. This is also subsequently a reference to how Pooh Brain fans got annoyed that he didn't show up in the series finale because they had strung together theories and were disappointed that they didn't get what they were never promised. In the mid-credits scene for this episode, I'd rather not present to the class right now, sir, says,
Snooper's gonna snoop.
This is possibly my favourite Easter egg in the whole show, as it is actually referencing ThnxCya's Minecraft song, Creeper's Gonna Creep, which, if you look at the release date, that came out on February 19th, 2012, and this episode aired on February 19th, 2021. That is just some crazy attention to detail. I cannot get over how genius Marvel are. Okay, so in this scene, we see that Wanda has a car when she can literally fly. And this has got to be hinting to the fact that she will become a main villain in the MCU, similar to House of M, because she's a terrible person by polluting the world even more and speeding up climate change. In this sad sequence, Wanda witnesses a completely different version of events to what is described in Avengers. Ultron, how long do you think you're going to be staying? Because, I mean, I have a sofa, but it's not that... Oh, don't worry, I should only be about 2 days and then I'll be out of your hair. Now, This is hinting towards the fact that a multiverse has been created, which I'm surprised no one has commented on this so far. You know, that these two multiverses are merging? I'm just really shocked that people haven't recognized that. This could be referencing House of M, where Wanda alters the entire universe, but I think this is alluding to the concept of the Mandela effect. The theory that when you remember something slightly differently, it's not that you're dumb and just remembered something slightly differently, it's that two alternate universes have collided and the version of you from one has gone into the world of the other. And that's gotta be what's being referenced here. Some people have said that it's a retcon, but I don't know what that is, so it can't be that. Anyway, we are shown some pirated black market DVDs of some of the sitcoms that this show is mimicking, and this is clearly referencing how I'm sure a lot of people watched WandaVision, as people don't want to give our Disney overlords even more money than they already have. Silence, human, for we Silence, human, for we shall consume all smaller companies until we rule the world. Alright, okay. Anyway, in another sad flashback, Vision utters the line,
"But what is grief, if not love persevering?"
This is a reference to the sound I heard when watching this episode. That sound, of course, being the sound of every screenwriter in the world whispering a reverent fuck under their breath. And what makes this line even more interesting is that it was reported afterwards that Orson Welles had come back to life only to kill himself after listening to that line. I don't think I should include that. At the end of the episode, this line is said.
That makes you a Scarlet Witch.
And this is clearly referencing the amazing line in the movie, What Are We, Some Sort of Suicide Squad, where Will Smith utters the line, "What are we, some sort of squad suicide?" The appearance of White Vision excited many fans, including myself, as he first appeared in the West Coast Avengers storyline, where he is an emotionless version of the Vision. So I really like that he ends up not killing Vision as a hint to the fact that he's emotionless. The fight scene itself is a reference to the equally good fight scene in Batboy vs Superboy, Dusk of Injustice, where they punch for a bit and then they're mates because why did you say that name? But in WandaVision, they swapped out Vision's mum's name for a philosophical theory or some, I don't know, I'm dumb, I read comic books, I'm a nerd and I get wedgies. The other climactic fight of the series is also very original and also has a reference to the Avengers, where a blue beam of light shoots up into the sky during the climax. This also happens in Wreck-It Ralph, Iron Man, Man of Steel, and oh my god, this is every film ever. However, in WandaVision, it's a red beam of light. How interesting. The mid-credit scene for this episode is clearly a reference to the post-credit scene from the first Iron Man film, where Sam Jackson steps out and says, "Hey, do you want to get paid a lot of money and no longer be thought of that cokehead?" Just except this time, RDJ is replaced by Monica Rambeau, as she is now Spectrum from the comics. The character that has the ability to create an audio spectrum in Adobe After Effects without forgetting each time and having to search up a YouTube tutorial, watching the first 10 seconds and going, "Oh wait, no, actually, I do remember how to do it." And following on from that, the post-credit scene actually has a lot of references. Firstly, it has very clear visual parallels to a scene in Doctor Strange, where Doctor Strange manipulates time to change the apple, as apple is a food, and what Wanda is holding is a cup of tea, which is a beverage, the liquid form of food. And this scene also references the upcoming third Spider-Man MCU film, Spider-Man No Way Home, as you can hear Wanda's kids calling out for her. It seems they are stuck in hell, or some other weird dimension like that, and can't find a way home. Much like Spider-Man in Spider-Man No Way Home, because his bed got destroyed and he didn't tick keep inventory, so he doesn't have a map to find his way back home. That is the leaked plot synopsis of Spider-Man No Way Home. The Disney snipers are currently on their way to...
Jimmy, come on, your dinner's getting cold.
How many more... Oh my god, what the fuck? Okay, that is every single Easter egg and reference in the greatest adult television show of all time, WandaVision. I hope you enjoyed this video, and now you can go tell your friends about all these references and be annoyed that they also caught all of them, because for some reason you feel like knowing Easter eggs makes you a better person. Make sure you give this video a like, and don't hit wait. Yeah, I'm aware that I most probably come off as like a massive dick in this video, and well, that's because I am. Pretty much I'm planning to have like a full-on WandaVision review video coming out, and pretty much I didn't like it. I really don't think it's that good, and it seems like people think it is just because it isn't punchy, kicky, and witty one-liners for once. They think it's like the greatest thing ever, when actually it's really average. And like they're claiming it's so fucking deep when actually it's a really surface level approach to the themes that it has. And I don't want to stomp on their fun, you know, like if they liked it, that's fine, that's cool, that's great, you know, I wish I could like it, but I can't because it's bad, and for some reason, because I'm an awful person, it just annoys me that people are like, oh, this is the best thing ever, and then they get mad at people who don't think the same. And now I'm getting mad at them in return. This is a joke video. I think it's kind of funny, but also not that funny because I'm a dick, okay?